Hello everyone, and welcome to Rogues Gallery, a deck profile series where I attempt to take the best decks from Yu-Gi-Oh Outlaw and show them off to all of you. Today we have a deck that is very near and dear to me, Dragon Link, one of the first decks ever made for the format. Looking at the list, you'll notice a who's who of Dragon Link main deck monsters. However, looking at the extra, you'll notice we are quite short on links. This is because a lot of the usual suspects for Dragon Link's endboard are banned. We don't have any seals, we don't have any of the Borals, and we certainly don't have any of the Bystials. This causes us to dive a little bit deeper into our card pool to really figure out what we want to be doing. And rather than create an unbreakable board of Link monsters, we would rather create an unbreakable link of resources that allow us to keep ourselves in the game no matter what. Because of this, our chosen outlaw is Mikazuki no Yaiba, the Moonfang Dragon. This card reads, during the end phase, if this card is in your hand or graveyard, you can special summon it but place it on the bottom of the deck when it leaves the field. You can discard a card, add one level 7 Dark Dragon monster from your deck to your hand. This card is mission critical to our deck, as it allows us to get access to Router Dragon, Wicked Serpent Night End Dragon, as well as Noctivision Dragon. All cards that serve different purposes throughout the list. With that said, let's get into the card by card. First up, we have Dark End Evaporation Dragon. This card is essentially poly on board, as well as a free special summon. Next up, we have Tempest, Dragon Ruler of Storms. This is a part of our general Dragon Ruler package of Tempest, Redox, Spectral, and Lightning that serves to make level 7s, as well as be able to search any dragon in our deck. One of our generics for the deck is going to be Wicked Serpent Night Dragon. This card reads, you can tribute a dark monster from hand or field, special summon this card from your hand. When this card is destroyed by battle, you can target one monster your opponent controls, destroy it, and send it to the graveyard. Then, you can special summon this card. This is an incredible piece of removal for the deck, as well as an incredible way to turn one Mikazuki into one rank 7, of which we have a very powerful suite of. Next up, we have Redox, Dragon Ruler of Boulders, just another 7 that we can get on the board for free. Same thing for Noctivision Dragon, but this is also one of our very vital dragon extenders. We have very few of these, so we want to be playing as many as possible. We're on 2 copies of Black Dragon Collapse Serpent, 2 copies of Scarlet Saber, 2 copies of White Dragon Wyver Burster. We're on a couple of the Dragon Maids, specifically Chamber, Parlor, and Kitchen, as well as the Dragon forms for both Kitchen and Parlor. Unfortunately, the Dragon form for Chamber specifically is not legal due to having too high attack and searching cards. For the search targets for Chamber Dragon Maid, we're on Dragon Maid Changeover in order to fusion summon into a copy of Chaos Star Source Dragon, as well as Dragon Maid Tinying as just an extra piece of interaction. Next up, we are on the aforementioned Lightning Dragon Ruler of Giraffes, as well as Parlor Dragon Maid, and as well as Spectral. In order to discourage our opponent from popping our entire board with a Regeki or Dark Hole, we're playing a copy of Omni Dragon Brotor. This card will special summon itself from the hand or graveyard whenever a monster we can control is destroyed, and then trigger to search out any Dark Dragon, which, as you guessed, is another way to Mikazuki no Yaiba. We are on one copy of Branded Regained. That's all we can really play because it's branded. We are going to be banishing a lot of cards, so a card that recurs those banished cards as well as gives us draws for it is pretty mission critical, all things considered. We're on a copy of Pot of Avarice on that exact same note. Again, being able to recur combo pieces after we've already used them is just so incredibly important for a deck like this, because we really don't have any way to get back into the game or be super explosive once we've gone through our entire Dragon Link line. We're on a copy of Chaos Space in order to get to our Chaos Dragons more consistently. Getting to those are our 1-card starters. We're on a copy of Dragon Maid Changeover, as previously mentioned, as well as Ravine and Tiding, Router for our Dragon Link package. And with that said, Boot Sector Launch, Quick Launch, Rocket Tracer, Rocket Caliber is going to be our 4 of choice, because we contribute it to special out a Mikazuki no Yaiba in very niche scenarios. We're on the aforementioned Dragon Maid suite, and for our utility cards, we're on 2 copies of Ash Blossom and 2 copies of Ghost Bell, the bare minimum that we can be playing in the format. For the extra, we're going to be playing a copy of Ladies Dragon Maid, a card that is inexplicably legal in the format due to only special summoning a card from deck as its boss monster trait, as well as only having 2,000 attack. This is our main means of getting into this card, Philia Regis, the most powerful card in the deck. Usually, if you open a hand that gets to Philia Regis, you are going to be able to win the game. because this card reads, during the main phase, target one card your opponent controls or in their graveyard, banish it, then if you banish a card on the field, return a dragon monster you control to the hand. At the start of your opponent's battle phase, if this card is in your graveyard, you could return a dragon monster you control to the hand or the extra, and if you special summon this card. This is a generally just fantastic piece of interaction. However, it also serves as a way to just recur monsters on board. There are a number of games where I've just left a Pisty on the field as part of the end board, so I can bounce it back with a copy of Philia Regis, and then just summon it back on the next turn to get something out of the graveyard. We're on 2 copies of Chaos Star Source Dragon. This is our other Outlaw. This card reads, if this card is fusion summoned, you can target cards your opponent controls up to the number of light and dark monsters used as this card's material, destroy them, and if this card is banished, you can target a level 4 light or dark dragon monster you control. Its level becomes 8. This card is incredibly important for just breaking boards and is one of our big payoffs. We are on a very large amount of light and darks just by virtue of playing Dragon Link. In theory, you could play a Draco Tail engine in order to facilitate summoning this card on your opponent's turn, but it's very janky from what I've found because you don't always open 5 mana, but the hands you do open 5 mana are game determinative. This card is incredible to summon on your opponent's turn, and if there was a more consistent way to get to her, I would certainly be on that package. Next up, we're on a copy of Beels of the Diabolical Dragons. You are going to see me summon this in a couple of games because it's just a big guy. It's essentially kind of like a Baguska in a sense. Very difficult card for some decks to out. However, with every deck in the game having access to Unicorn, it's not the greatest thing in the world. I would heavily recommend cutting this card for a copy of Exciton Knight, as that card is just massively more impactful. For our main rank 4, we're going to be playing Evil Swarm Nightmare. Usually your end board is going to consist of this card as well as Darkness Metal. For our rank 7 suite, we're on Blaze, Supreme Ruler of all dragons. This is our means of just having a rank 7 in the extra we can make constantly. Number 11, Big Eye for picking apart boards. Volafernicus, the Darkest Dragon Doom Rider. If you've never read this card, it reads, once per turn, you can detach 2 materials from this card. You'll target a 1 face-up card on the field and destroy it. And if you destroyed a monster, you can make 1 face-up monster you control gain attack equal to the destroyed monster's original level or rank until the end of this turn. Most notably, this is a quick effect if this card has a dragon monster as material. And lastly, we are on all the usual suspects for Dragon Link. 1 copy Striking Dragon, 1 copy Guard Dragon Pisty, 1 copy Romulus, 1 copy Triple Burst, 1 copy Unicorn, and 1 copy Darkness Metal. This is the only big payoff for Dragon Link in the format, sadly, but it is not a bad one. This card reads, you can target one of your monsters that is banished or in your graveyard, special summon it to your zone this card points to in defense position, but its effects are negated. Also, you cannot special summon Link monsters for the rest of this turn, and the summoned monster is placed on the bottom of the deck when it leaves the field. 1 million stipulations for a card that just reborns a guy. Thankfully, this card does still have its uses. You can use the reborn monster as fusion material for something like a Chaos Star Source at the end of your combo, or what we will most likely be using it to set up Evil Swarm Nightmare. Normally, you will be special summoning a copy of Rocket Tracer back from the grave off of your copy of Pisty, and then using Darkness Petal to summon back Rocket Caliber, and then just overlaying for an Evil Swarm Nightmare. If you can fit a Philia Regis into that end board, usually that's enough to win the game. It's 2 Book of Moons and a Banish, but some decks, as you will see, are unfortunately able to push through it due to certain cards in the format. For the side, we are on 2 copies of Ghost Ogre, 1 copy of Lightning Vortex, 1 copy Dark Hole, 1 copy Raigeki, 1 copy Duster, 2 copies of Night Beam. This card is mission critical for beating a lot of back row decks in the format, and I really wish I could just see it more often. Additionally, there's not a ton of spell trap removal in the format. There's like MSTs, Cosmic Cyclones, but Night Beam I feel is just incredibly important for anything that's really chainable. Next up, we have 2 copies Twin Twister, 2 copies Infirm for the matchups where we need more hand traps, and then 1 Solemn, 1 Strike, 1 Warning for going first. With that said, let's jump right into the games. So our first game is going to be Going Second versus Psychics. Our opponent's going to begin with this copy of Normal Summon Yaman. Go ahead and go Foxy Tunes for the Shirakusai for Rising Guard special tunes in the deck for Wagon. Wagon's going to go ahead and get us a copy of the Field Spell. Then from here, we're going to special add this copy of Kirino we said earlier into a Lambda. We're going to go chain everything here. We're going to special add this copy of Juration to banish it with the Psychic Commander, which lets us trigger the Lambda and get a Gamma in the end phase. We're going to go ahead and special add this copy of Mikosuki no Yaiba and head to our turn. We're going to attempt to go battle phase here. They will pop it. We'll fire off this copy of Quick Launch, attempting to swing over the Lambda, but we're just too small. They're going to Gamma this copy of Rocket Tracer. Thankfully, we do have the Wyvern in hand. They're going to go for this teleport from deck to get the Ghost Ogre. Thankfully, we did get the search of the Collapse Serpent off of that Wyvern Burster. We're going to go ahead and get into Romulus. There's not too much we can set up here. We're going to Unicorn spin away the land to make sure we can have it online for next turn. We're going to set one in pass. They're going to go for this copy of Mind Procedure and pay cost to die. Okay, well, we may not have deserved that win. They were going to get Italian full combo after that, but our second game is going to be going first against Lord of Shuriwayne. Apologies, forgot the name of the deck there for a second. We're going to begin with this copy of Chaos Space, pushing Team Kazuki for a Wyvern Burster, link into the Striker Dragon, so we can get all of our searches. We'll go ahead and special summon out this copy of Collapse Serpent and get a draw. We unfortunately do find the Rocket Tracer here, but that does free up our Ravine Send, thankfully. So we should be able to turn on this Dragon Maze stuff. We're going to go ahead and pitch the Tinkek for a Kitchen. We're going to special summon out this copy of Rocket Tracer. We're going to do a couple links here. Special summon back the Rocket Tracer because I thought you could fuse away the copy of Kitchen, but unfortunately, Lady does send to Graveyard, and you cannot do that under the effect of Darkness Metal. We're going to go ahead and book this copy of Nightmare Magician Apprentice. Then we're going to book this copy of Diabelle. She's still going to get her Send. That's going to prompt our opponent to set 2 and pass. We'll special out this copy of Wyvern Burster. Special out another copy of Watch Caliber. We're going to eat a Needle Sealing and get completely board wiped. And here we are fresh out of links. We don't really have too much to do, so we're just going to make Diabelles and start hitting in. We're going to pull up this copy of Nightmare Apprentice, and this is the part of the deck where it really does struggle. We don't really have much to do with this copy of Wyvern Burster in hand. We're completely out of links, we're out of rank 4s, we're drawing hand traps for turn, and it is bleak. So battle phase, swing into the Tau again, not really accomplishing much of anything. We're going to set another one, pass. We draw a Mikazuki no Yaiba. That could be good on a following turn. We're going to ash this copy of Big Welcome, which will still trigger this copy of Lord of the Heavenly Prison. We're going to pitch this back check for Nightmare Apprentice. Go ahead and get search. They're going to go Control Me, bounce that back. Tau in attack position. They're going to get in for a lot of damage, but not quite lethal. We'll see if we can make something happen on our turn, but with Silo Hat coming down, it's not looking pretty. This just gives them a free negate and pop, preventing us from getting into our Nightmare Surface Speeder. Go ahead and negate the Mikazuki, pop the Field Spell, and normal Lopar. We go Lady here, try and get something started. Go for a Fusion, but on response to the Fusion activating, they'll go ahead and call Star Source, so we do not get our board wipe. Go ahead and pop back this copy of Chamber, but it is not looking good. They're going to get a bit of priority during the start of this main phase here, so we can't banish it. Ophelia will chain, but it is just too little, too late. So with going first and second out of the way, let's go ahead and jump right into a best of 3. We're going to begin with this copy of Normal Summon Lopar, send its Dragon Form. We're going to fuse off for Lady. Go for Chamber here. Chamber's going to get us a trap, just an extra piece of interaction. We're going to link these 2 off for a copy of Romulus. Romulus is going to get us the Ravine. We're going to pitch. Go ahead and set up a Mikazuki, because we feel like we probably do need to set up a bit of recursion this time around. But it unfortunately does not matter, because we will eat a Dark Hole. We'll go spell this copy of Mind Procedure, and yeah, sometimes it doesn't really matter if you set up a grind game. I'll go ahead and talk about this deck a little bit. This is one of our tournament winners, Fiend Link, or Morning Coffee, as some tend to call it. A deck that is incredibly powerful, both on the draw and on the play, being able to do pop 2s, and as you'll see here, produce lines for lethal that are truly incredible. They're going to pop this copy of Tiding, which does mean we get to summon a blocker, but they're going to chain this copy of, I believe this is Red Baron. Burn us for 400. Special summon back this copy of Billy in the battle phase just give us something to bounce. But this does have a double attack thanks to the spell, and they will get in for well over lethal. Okay, so it's a rough game 1, but going into game 2 we have our sideboard, which hopefully should help a little bit. Solemn Strike against Cherubini is especially potent. We're going to begin with this copy of Kitchens, adding and sending this copy of Pink X before contact using Offer to Lady. That'll lead a Ghost Ogre, but that's not too bad. We're going to go ahead and get a copy of Tidings to reborn this copy of Lady later on. We're going to pitch it for the Ravines and the Abs Router, which is going to give us our copy of Rocket Tracer. We're going to go ahead and pick up the Boot Sector Launch, changing the field those out, put this on E2. We special the Lady a little bit early here, completely forgetting about its effect to bounce in the end phase, but thankfully that shouldn't matter, because we do get a good amount of interaction here either way. And our opponent fires off Raigeki. Okay, that is disastrous. We're going to fire off this copy of Solemn Strike, but they do already have the Mutiny in Sky in hand. They're going to go ahead and exchange that Mutiny in Sky for a copy of King's Rhino Warrior, which will send Skarm, which will get them a Tour Guide in the end phase. There's draws that do it, and that is not one of them. So we're back with the list, and admittedly, yeah, that was pretty rough. If I'm being perfectly honest, this is more so a snapshot in time of what the first decks of Outlaw looked like, rather than you should play Dragon Link in this format. It is not the prettiest deck, it doesn't put up the prettiest end boards, but it is still a piece of the game's history. So, with that said, let's get right into the pros and cons. First, the pros. The deck can put up 3 to 4 pieces of interaction if it really pops off. This is something that very few other decks in the format can do, especially while threatening the ability to recur from the graveyard, like Dragon Link does. Additionally, all of its monsters are incredibly high attack. You can just close out games by swinging over things with Night End Serpent or Dark End Evaporation Dragon. And the cons. The deck loses to just about anything. If you Ash it at the right point, it dies. If you Ghost Ogre Dragon Ravine, it dies. If you cut off its Dragon main access, it dies. If you fire a macro, it dies. A light gust of wind will kill the deck, and if one of those gusts of wind is a powerful ward breaker, as you've seen, there isn't really much way to get back into the game. With so few links to go into, there isn't much to be done about this issue, other than just cutting the Xyz package. There are ways to patch up this problem by playing things like Dragoonity or the new Dracotail cards, but with this specific build, it's bleak. But that does not stop it from still being one of my personal favorites. The way the deck spins its wheels, recurs cards, as well as just uses cards like Mikazuki no Yaiba and Wicked Serpent Night Dragon is incredibly fantastic. Cards like Volafernagus and Ophilia Regis are very fun boss monsters to play around with, and when the deck does get to show its strength, it does win the game on the spot. It is still very similar to TCG Dragon Link, where if it just goes interrupted, it wins the game instantly. But it does unfortunately still fall over to a gust of wind, and we don't have seals to back it up. Thank you all so much for watching. I know this isn't the usual edited content that I've put out for my last 2 videos, but I would really like to start documenting the deck lists of Yu-Gi-Oh Outlaw to try and showcase the format a little bit more. I will be changing the styles of these videos going forward, experimenting to see with what works, what doesn't work, what I enjoy doing, what I don't enjoy doing. So I hope you all stick with me, and I will see you all in the next video.